Hello. I know it's been a long time since you've been able to see your family or your friends. We've been at home for quite a while. So I thought a fun activity for today to do some writing would be to write a letter to a family member or friend. That way we get to practice our writing and you get to talk to some people that maybe you haven't been able to see in a while. You can choose anyone you'd like to write to, someone that's important to you. So I've chosen to write my letter to my sister, and her name is Sindel. So I've put Dear Sindel at the top of my page. It's like an introduction and it welcomes them to your letter and it makes them know that that letter's for you. You can write it on paper, you can write it in an email, however you'd like, but there are some things you need to have in your letter. So I'm going to teach you how to write a proper letter. To write a letter, one of the most important things is to show interest in the person you're writing your letter to. So it's not all about me. I'm writing my letter for my sister, so I'm going to be having to ask some questions about her. If you're writing to your aunt or your friend, you should be asking questions about them. So I'm going to ask you in your letter to write 3 questions about whoever you're writing to and their lives. So you could ask them, how are you doing? Everyone's had their lives a little bit mixed up since we've had to stay home. Some people are working from home. Some people have maybe had to switch houses. So how are you doing? Are they doing okay? I'm really interested to hear how my sister's doing. Another question you could ask is, how is someone in their house? So my sister just got a new lizard, and I really want to hear about how that lizard is doing. So I could write, how is your new lizard? How are you doing? How is your new lizard? So then I ask about her and something in her life. You could ask, how are? Is for one thing, just her one lizard. How is your lizard? If you want to ask about more than one thing, we don't say is, we say are. So how are? And my sister has 3 sons, 3 little boys at home. So how are your sons? Or her sons are named. How are Daniel, Apollo, and Thorian? So I could ask about the people in her life. I could, if I don't have anything to ask about the people in their house, I could ask different questions like, what are you doing at home? It'd be interesting for me to know what she's doing at home. Maybe she has some really fun ideas about being at home that I didn't even think about. That would be really neat to learn about. Next, have you? This could be asking something about what has she done. So I have been doing lots of baking. But I could ask her, have you been baking at home? Maybe I want to see if she planted seeds like we did. Have you started your plants, or have you started planting your seeds? So these are good question starters. You don't need to use the same questions I'm using. If you're talking to your friend, are you going to ask how their sons are? No, they don't have sons, so don't ask that question. You could ask, how are your parents? If you're asking a kid, you could ask them how their parents are doing. So these are some question starters. Think about the person you're writing to and make sure that your sentences make sense for that. If you're not writing to an adult, you shouldn't ask them about their kids. If you're writing to a kid, you maybe want to ask them about their parents or their other friends, or maybe some siblings. So if you're asking your friend from school, you could say, how is your brother? Maybe they have a brother and you're interested to see how they're doing. After you're done writing 3 questions to ask them about their lives, this is a letter to someone, and if you're writing to someone, I'm sure that person cares about you as well. So you tell them things about yourself. So I could write 3 things about me, how I'm doing. And if you're writing, it's how you are doing. So I could write, I am doing okay at home. It's true. It's not my favorite thing to stay home, so I'm not going to say, I'm doing excellent, I'm great, it's my favorite time. No, I miss people, so I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right at home. You could tell them some things you like to do. I like to go outside and play with Pav, my dog. I could say, I like to make my own Play-Doh. I really enjoyed that. I could tell her that, and maybe that's a good idea for something that she can do at home too. I like to bake a little too much, so I've been baking too many foods and eating too many cookies. I think she might find that funny to hear, because she likes to bake too. Tell them some things you like to do. Or if you don't want to do that, another idea starter is, I don't like that I have to stay home all day, every day. I don't like that I don't get to go to work anymore. It was fun for me. I liked seeing all of you coming to school. I don't like anything else you don't like. Maybe I don't like having to share the computer with my brothers or sisters if you're talking at home. You've had to use the computer a lot more to go to Zoom meetings, and maybe they take a lot of time, especially if they're older than you. They might have a lot of stuff to do. I don't like how much time they're spending on the computer. Or, I don't like the dinner we had yesterday. Maybe you didn't like what you ate for dinner. You could tell them that, as long as you're still being nice to your family. And another idea, you don't have to use these ideas, you could make your own. But if you're struggling, you could say, I wish I could go to the playground and play, but they're closed. I wish I could come visit you. I miss her. I want to see her. I wish I could go camping. It's a little too cold right now, and we're supposed to stay home. I wish I could go to a pool with you. All the pools are closed, and I really liked going swimming with my sister. Once you're done writing 3 things about you and your life, you can use these. You don't have to. You can think of other things you want to write. Once you're done that, you just want to say a nice goodbye. So there's one extra sentence at the bottom that says, it's a little bit of glare, but it's, there we go, it's F. It says, I hope to hear from you soon. So maybe she'll write back to me, or maybe she'll call me and say, oh, I got your letter. I was so excited to hear from you. Here's how I'm doing. And then she could call you, she could call me, or maybe this person is going to write back to you and answer your questions themselves. So I hope to hear from you soon. If you don't want to write that, you could say, it was fun to write to you. I miss you. You're supposed to be writing to someone important to you, so I'm sure that you do miss them. It would be nice for them to hear that. You could write any kind of nice goodbye. I love you. I had so much fun writing this letter, or I had to write this letter for school, but it was still nice to write to you. Maybe you don't like writing the letter, and that's okay too. And at the bottom, you write love or from or sincerely, which means I care for you, and your name. Now, I didn't write Miss Vasvary because I'm talking to my sister. Does my sister call me Miss Vasvary? No, she calls me by my first name, which you all know is Teegan. So I'm not going to write love Miss Vasvary. If I was writing to you, I might write that, but not to my sister. So if you have a little nickname that person calls you, you could write anything you want as long as they know it's from you. If I write love a mystery person, are they going to know it's me? Probably not. So make sure they know it's from you, but you can write your name however you want. Now I'm going to show you how you can write this letter and what it should look like, because it's not going to be in point form like this. You're going to write whole sentences. You're going to write in one big paragraph. So I'm going to show you how to do that. But if you need to come back and look at these, you can come back, and I'll also show you it again at the end if you forget some of the starters. So I'm going to go prepare this, and I'll be right back. I've cleared off my board, and I've started writing my letter. So far I have a little introduction. I wanted to just say, first, it's been so long since I saw you. It's been a while since I've seen her. I called her on the phone, and we message sometimes, but I haven't actually seen her. So I put a little introduction, because you can always add extra to your letters, but you don't have to. Now I wrote, how are you doing? Well, that's one question for her. The first one is not a question, so it doesn't count. One question so far. How are you doing? Now I want to hear about her lizard, but I'm going to kind of introduce that. I'm going to say, I saw the pictures of your new lizard. And I think that's really exciting, so I'm going to give it an exclamation mark. And I'm going to say, how is it doing? So I want to know, how is her lizard doing? If I just said, how are you doing? How is it doing? She's not going to know what I'm talking about. So I had to write a little sentence to start it off so she knows I'm talking about her lizard. I saw the pictures of your new lizard. How is it doing? So how is your lizard doing? I'm really interested to hear because it was just a baby before and I think it's grown quite a bit now. So maybe she'll send me some new pictures. So I have one question. You don't need to underline them. I'm just showing you where they are so that you can see when I'm doing my work. How is it doing? And I think my last question I'm going to write to her is, have you been doing much baking? I've been baking a lot, and I want to know if she's been doing much baking. Now, I have 3 questions. I can go right into saying how I've been doing. So I'm going to actually keep talking about baking. Have you been doing much baking? I have been baking so much. An exclamation mark because it's so much. So now I'm going to use a different color so you can see that's one thing I've told her about me. Me, I have been baking so much. That's about me. Now I will also write, I'm going to keep going with baking. I've been eating too many sugary cookies. And I'll say comma, because I'm going to keep going with my idea. It's just a comma, means take a breath. I've been eating too many sugary cookies. I need to make sure I go outside and keep being active. So just because I'm eating cookies doesn't mean that's bad for me. But if I eat cookies and watch TV all day, that's not very healthy. But if I eat cookies and sit at the computer all day, that's still not very healthy. So I need to make sure that I go outside and keep being active. So that, I'm not going to underline the whole thing, it's a lot, but it's one thing about me. It's another thing about me. I've been eating too many sugary cookies. I need to make sure I go outside and keep being active. So I'm just going to write, I'll just underline those ones. That's one more thing that I told them about me. And the last thing I could write about me is, I'm going to tell her what I miss. Oh, it's going to keep going with my sentence, so keep on the same line. I really miss going swimming. We go swimming a lot. Whoop, that's an M. Whoop, a mistake. Teachers edit too. Swimming with you and your sons. Now, since there's a boy son and not the sun in the sky, it's sons with an O. So I'm going to write that. I really miss going swimming with you and your sons. So it's another thing about me. I miss that. So there's my last thing. I have 1. This was my section to 2. And 3. I have 3 things about me. Now, if you remember, the last thing I need to do is I need to write a nice goodbye. So I'm going to say, I hope you're, it's you, Y-O-U''re, because it's you are. I hope, it says hope. I don't know if you can see it. There you go. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're doing well, and that I get to see you soon. And I get to see you soon. I'm actually going to add one more thing. I'm just going to say, I miss you, because I miss her. I miss you. And at the very bottom, I have love, Teegan. And I'm Teegan, even though I'm Miss Vasvary. Remember, my sister isn't going to call me Miss Vasvary. She's going to call me by my first name. Love, Teegan. So that's my letter to my sister. I have 1, 2, 3 questions, and 1, 2, 3 things about me, and a nice goodbye. I made sure I wrote who it's to and who it's from. And now it's your turn to write your letter. Now that you've seen how I've written my letter, I'm going to show you this one more time, just so you can remember the question starters, the ideas about you starters, and the nice goodbye starters, if you want to use these. And remember, if you want to write it in a different way, you don't want to use these starters, that's okay, but you still have to have 3 questions about who you're writing to, the other person, and 3 things about you, and a nice goodbye. And make sure you put your name on it, otherwise they don't know who it's from, right? All right, I hope you enjoy this, and you can actually send this letter. This isn't just a school activity. If you want to put this letter in the mail and send it, that's fine. If you'd like to type it into an email so that you can just go send and send it off, that's okay, as long as you have their email address or their regular address. So maybe before you write your letter, check with someone at home and see who you actually could send it to. I know where my sister lives, and I have her email, so I could do that either way. But if you want to write to someone from school and you don't have their address, you might want to pick somebody else that you can actually send it to, if you want. If you want it to just be a fun school activity, that's okay too. All right, I hope you like it, and I'll see you next time. Bye!